Hello there folks, it is TIJ Gaming and welcome back to the Football Manager 2021 series Conquering the Euro with Everton. Today we start Season 6 of The Save and our first Champions League season. This save is really going places, so if this is your first video of The Save, let me just give you a bit of a recap of what happened so far. Now, for the first 3 seasons, we started with OGC Nice in the French League, and it's fair to say we didn't really get anywhere. We sort of finished 7th and 6th, not really getting anywhere substantial. Then the Everton job came up, we took over at Everton. Last year was our first full season, and on the final day, we managed to sneak in to the Champions League. Manchester City finished 5th, they sacked Pep Guardiola, they are in the Europa League this year, we are in the Champions League. But these videos, the first one of each season, usually is the one that is the most viewed. So if we can get some new viewers on board, that would be absolutely awesome. And you guys can help by leaving a like on the video, leaving comments down below, and if you haven't done already, subscribing for regular Football Manager 2021 content 4 times a week. But let's go into the new season. Let's have a look at our transfers. We have made one big transfer this year. We're going to have a look at the outs though first. That's what we like to look at first. We had a few players leave on a free. We knew that Decore was going to China on a free. We knew Ryan Astley was going to Inter Miami, but again, he's not really a player that's any good. Bit of good news, we managed to sell Tomasz Butnik to Marseille for £23 million. He was a player that wasn't really favoured by me, to be honest. He was a player that was signed before we came into the club. £20 million, didn't really do much. Went out on loan to Marseille, and to be quite honest, didn't do a whole lot. 21 appearances, 7 goals. Not brilliant, but we managed to get 23 million for him, so that was a big profit. And helped us pay back, as you might see a little bit later, one of our big transfers. We've sent a few players out on loan, the likes of Joel Stewart, Harrison Solkin has gone out as well. And a few other players, Joaquin Uranga, Josh Hope has gone out on loan to Leicester this year. He was at Swansea last year in the Championship, one of our young strikers, regens, that went out to Swansea on loan last year. And now he gets a chance to play Premier League football, and I think that'll be big for his development. He's already a 3-star player, so he could be in the team, but the competition we've got in the team, he's just not really going to get a regular place. And of course, that's going to be served much better by playing first-team football elsewhere. The first sale, though, of the transfer window was Mason Holgate, who went to Tottenham for £12 million. I'm quite happy with this one. He did play quite a few games last year, but we have got newer players, younger players who are probably coming in to fill that role now. And for those of you who've watched the series for a while, you'll know that I wasn't particularly happy with Holgate at right back. We've got our centre-back partnership sorted of Ben Godfrey and Diego Almeida, so Mason Holgate was unlikely to get into the side. It was also the last year of his contract, so 12 million I think is a good price to get for him. So obviously there was little bits and frees and loans, etc, etc. Lewis Dobbin also left the club, one of our youngsters who was never really going to get into the first team. He left for £250,000. So we got about £36 million. And for the first time, I think in this save overall, we've spent more actually than we've sold. So the first player we bought in, you guys knew about on the 9th of June, was Casco, a 22-year-old from Brazil, actually from Saudi Arabia in game because he went to Al Ittihad from Palmeiras for 10 million 2 years ago. As you can see, again, I know the Saudi Arabian League isn't the best in the world, but even so, an average rating of 7.76 last year, and we pick him up for what I think is a bargain, £12.75 million. Now, he's only a 3.5-star keeper, I accept that, but if you look at some of these stats, they're all fine. They all probably average out at about a 14. He looks a very good player, and crucially, an understudy to Jordan Pickford. Jordan Pickford did very well last year, got the 3rd most clean sheets out of anybody in the league, and he'll be the first teamer this year. Even though it says that Casco is a first-choice goalkeeper, he's going to be Pickford's understudy, and then I think we'll start to use Casco more from next year. But he actually is going to start today's game because Jordan Pickford's picked up a bit of a knock. Our massive signing for the summer, though, is Robin van der Berg. What a special player he could be. 22 years of age from Ajax. This is the biggest signing I think I've ever made in Football Manager, £91 million. But look at those average ratings in the Dutch League. 7.66, 7.21, 7.23, 7.25, 7.45. I said last year that we were probably one big signing away from being a solid club inside the top 4. And I really think that Robin van den Berg is going to be this man. You can see he's a 4.5-star player. By no doubt really, he's the best player in the side. He's a striker naturally. You can also play on the right wing. And I think on the right wing is where we're going to look to play him, because Reece Nelson is our first choice striker. We've also got Lorenzo, of course. But if you look at that, if you look at those three strikers now, three fairly young strikers, Lorenzo being only 20, Deji Satona being only 24, we've got some very encouraging attacking choices. On the right, we've got Robin van den Berg, Reece Nelson as well, but he's more of a striker. And I think we've got Alex Iwobi who can play there. But again, Alex Iwobi is 31. As ironic as it might sound, Robin van den Berg is an incredible depth player, but also is the most talented player, no doubt, in this squad. Look at some of these. A lot of these 16s, 17s, 18s, and obviously could still improve. But that is the big signing for the summer, and because of that, we didn't really buy many other players. We have spent quite a lot of money on him. We got roughly 36 million back, so in total we spent about 108 plus whatever was on here, so about 110 million. So net we've spent, what, 70 odd million? Which, again, the club finances had it. The club finances at the end of May were 91 million. We've put 70 million in the transfer kitty. And as you can see, they've got some money back from overall balances. But of course, from the Champions League this year, we'll get some big money. And that was really the thinking. We'll recoup that money, I'd say, quite easily. And ultimately, I think, if anything, if he performs well this year, we could make a profit on him. You know, he could be a £100 million player quite easily. The last signing, though, actually there are signings on the other page, sorry. The last signing of the old season before we went into July was Kees Ottenheim, another youngster who the scouts recommended. Right winger and striker, 19 years of age, signed on a deal for £2 million, which may rise to 4.6. Former PSV youngster. He's gone out on loan to the US to see how he gets on. But really, again, if he doesn't come into the team, he's a profit player. And you know I like to sign my youngsters. All of those players that we've signed have been young players. And we have broken the fold a little bit. We have broken the mould even, not the fold. We've broken the mould a little bit. We've signed Connor Cody. Now, you might think, why on earth have you signed him? Now, there is some thought behind this. Mason Holgate's gone, right? Centre-back options. What had we got depth-wise in terms of spent centre-back options? We were quite lucky last year that Ben Godfrey and Diego Almeida didn't really get injured. We've got Dennis Zakaria, who's a midfielder. We've got Kenneth Taylor, who's a midfielder. We've got Pat Mayer, who we'll come on to in a minute. But we haven't got that much depth with natural centre-backs. And that's why Pat Mayer's coming to the club. But also, Connor Cody is a big, big player to bring in. Obviously, he was my captain at Wolves. A free signing as well. He's played regularly in the Spanish League for Levante in the last few years. He's going to be a squad player. As you can see, he's only 2 stars, but some of his stats are still very good. Again, averaging at about 13 or 14. So I think that star rating is incredibly harsh on him. If we compare him to Diego Almeida, you can see Almeida, yes, he's probably a better player, but Cody is still a very suitable option. He's certainly probably got 2 years left in him. He has signed a 3-year contract, which maybe is a bit too much in hindsight. But again, I think for a free signing, it completely makes sense. And also, he's on £40,000 a week. Mason Holgate was on £90,000 a week. We've also signed Mikel TL, who was a player that we knew we were going to sign as well. Free transfer from Borussia Dortmund. 2-star player, potential 4 stars. Again, left-back options, really. We've got Juan Larios and Sanusi, who are our best options at left-back. We've also got Lawrence Livramento and Michael TL. Again, TL and Larios look the best players for the future, so another good signing there. We've also picked up as another centre-back option, someone who I can't believe Liverpool released. Yes, he is from Liverpool. Pat Mayer, 22 years of age, played a few times for the Liverpool first team, but clearly they didn't think he was good enough. I can't see why he can't be good enough. He's a leading player for Championship sides at the moment. He could become a good Premier League player in the future, 2.5 stars. His positioning, tackling, marking, heading, they're all pretty good. If we probably go to centre-back, which is going to be his best position, maybe the 2 that jump out at aggression and composure he needs to build on. But he's 22. He's someone that can still improve. I think he's in the mentoring group with Ben Godfrey, and that should help him out. But for a free transfer, what the hell have you got to lose? Again, another profit player if it doesn't quite work out. We've also signed Darko Giabi, one that you might frown upon a little bit. I wasn't too sure about it, but again, free transfer, nothing to lose. Comes in from Watford. Watford released him. Really is emergency backup, to be honest. He's a 2-star player, could be a 3-star player in the future. He's really a Championship player, to be honest, but you have to have backup options sometimes, and that's exactly what he is. He has gone out on loan because for the first 6 months at least this season, I don't think we'll need that backup option. But again, it's another player, potentially another profit player, £7,000 a week. I don't see any risk. And our final signing of the summer is Pablo Duran from Millonarios in Colombia. Again, our scouts have done a brilliant job. We've basically got our scouts to scout everywhere in the world. It's an expensive one, but I think it's one that will work out because we can find players like Pablo Duran, 18 years of age, finishing first touch, 16. He's 18. Acceleration, agility, balance, pace, all good stats already. He's only 18, as I say, and he could improve to be a very, very good player. £500,000. What is there to lose? But again, a lot of those are players for the future. I think at least one of them. I think it's just the one who's going to make their debut today. As I said about Vandenberg, unfortunately, he's got a little bit of a niggle, so I think he's going to be out for the first 2 games of the season. But we have got our first game against Sheffield United today. The promoted clubs, Derby County, Arsenal have come back up at the first time of asking. And who are the other club who have come up? I can't remember now. Let's have a butchers at the Championship last year. It's Brighton who have come back up from the Championship. So Arsenal, Brighton and Derby County are the newly promoted clubs. And Brighton didn't have a very good time of it, bless them, in their first match against Manchester United. But looking at our schedule for the first 5 of the season, we should really be winning these first 3 games. We've got Sheffield United first, then Norwich and then Brighton. I'd be expecting a good start. If you remember last year, we started off with 2 losses. We actually only started off with 3 points in the first 5 games. And then we won an incredible run mid-season. But bear in mind, as I alluded to earlier, we have got the UEFA Champions League this year. We do enter at the group stage. We haven't got to do any crap like going through knockout rounds, etc. We enter at the group stage. We are going to be the 4th seed, which scares me a little bit. But let's see how we get on. We'll do the first 2 games today, and I think we'll probably come back for that first Champions League game next time out. We've got a big run of games here. Chelsea, Man City and Liverpool, all on the TV to see how good we are. But the side, funnily enough, after all those signings, I think there's actually only one change from the last game of last season, and that is Casco starts. We said that Jordan Pickford's got a bit of a niggle. He's going to be out for about, I think he's only out for a few days. 7 days to 2 weeks. Fingers crossed he won't be out for too long because that could be damaging. But Casco gets his first game today. I'd say he's more than capable. Our defence consists of Livramento, Godfrey Almeida and Sanusi. Viviani and Sakaria start in the midfield. Sam Atkinson, we're looking to make him our first choice right winger this year because he did really well the back end of last year. Probably Robin Vandenberg might come in to replace him. But I think we'll try Vandenberg in a variety of positions. We know that Sam Atkinson's comfortable being a right winger, so we'll keep him there. But once Vandenberg comes into the side, he might be the one who steps out. But to be fair, it could be Alex Iwobi. Personally, I'd have liked to have got rid of him during the summer. There are some clubs that are interested, so it might still happen. He's worth 28 million. Sure, he's a versatile player, but if we can get 30 million for him now, I just think it's a no-brainer. He's a good player, as I say, but you know, he's not that good as such. He's not a player who's going to develop. Leicester want Lorenzo, do they? They ain't going to get him. He starts in a centre attacking midfield and Reece Nelson starts up front. So as I alluded to, not many changes from last year. We've actually got Tristan Wilbraham on the bench, who's a player who came through our youth intake last year. So a bit of a stupid thing to do to send both Joel Stewart and Chris McCowan. I can't remember. Chris McEwen. Something like that. Both of our young goalkeepers we've sent out on loan. That was a bit of a stupid one, I suppose. But first game of the new season. I'm excited for this. We did play against Sheffield United and got a 0-0 draw at the back end of last year. So I do hope we do a bit better than that and start off with a victory to start off the new season. And I am really excited for this campaign. A bit of pressure on us this time, I feel, because we finished 4th last time out. Last year was one of those where we'll go for it and see where we end up. This year, there is that pressure to probably finish in the top 7, at least. Get European football again. But let's say Arsenal are back in the Premier League. They're predicted to finish 5th, which surely has to be the best position any newly promoted club will get to. But they were wrong last year. They thought we were only going to finish 12th. We finished 4th. And what do I know about Alex Iwobi? Clearly not a lot. He gets our first goal of the season. A good assist there from Sam Atkinson. And we open up the scoring nice and early here at Bramall Lane. Eddie Howe's actually the Sheffield United manager now. He's not back in management, is he, in real life yet? I'd love to see him at a club. He's a good manager. He is. He just didn't quite work out in the end at Bournemouth. But nice to see Sam Atkinson gets the first assist of the new season. And we do lead here 1-0. Also, apologies if you think... I've read a comment once. I don't think it was one of my videos, where someone said it was incredibly rude that the creator was drinking a mug of tea whilst doing the video. But I've got to put this mug of tea down. Sheffield United hit back straight away with what's got to be a former Arsenal youngster in Joe Willock. Look at this. Casco sure doesn't get a clean sheet, but he's not going to stop that. That is the best goal I think I've seen on FM so far. That's impressive. That is impressive. Casco, Pickford, Ederson, De Gea, Alisson, Manuel Neuer. Nobody's stopping that. Sakaria, poor ball from Sakaria, really was. Oh dear. Durami, out on the wing, cuts inside, goes over the bar. We can't really use the excuse if we lose our first few matches that we've got a new side, almost, because all of these players, apart from the goalkeeper, played in the team last year. That is incredibly unlucky for Sam Atkinson not to get his first goal of the season. But we're making chances. That's the big thing. We've got quite a settled side, I'd say, now. We'd like to bring Vandenberg into that side, but he's going to be a player that, just because he's a brilliant player, he won't get treated differently to anybody else. He's not going to be playing every single game, although I've just thought, look, we did bring Lorenzo in for every single game last year, but then you could argue that he was by far our best option at central attacking midfield. But Diego Almeida gets his first goal of the season. Great to see for him, and he makes it 2-1. Surely it can't be 2-2. Lorenzo, Nelson, to Iwobi. Oh, just off the post. Tell you what, it could be 4-1. It really could. We've done really well at the start of this game, and that's encouraging. Blimey, Derby County not having a good time of it either. Within 14 minutes, Liverpool lead 4-0. Yikes. Bournemouth led against Arsenal. Arsenal are backing it at 1 each. But we're looking good. We're looking good. 2-1 up. I'd like to get 3 points to start the season. The only unfortunate bit, and what I am terrible for in Football Manager, is now that we're a good side, now that we are a side that probably should be finishing, as I said, inside the top 6 or top 7 at least, I'll be expecting to win every match. And it just becomes almost... not a chore's not the right word. And I don't mean in terms of the save at all. I'm really enjoying the save. But in terms of managing the match, it's like, right, win this one, win that one. It just becomes so much tougher to manage. Whereas last year, it was, whatever we do, we'll be all right. Make a few substitutions, though, here. Sakaria is going to come off for Lewis Bates. I think we'll keep it at that for the moment. I think we're all right. I think our depth on the bench isn't marvellous, but then bear in mind we've got a few players out injured. I said that Jordan Pickford was out injured. We've got players just gone out of my head. What's his name? Oh, God, I was just thinking of him. He's gone out of my head altogether. Sam Atkinson gets his first goal of the season, albeit it's a little bit like his first goal of last season. It's one that doesn't really intentionally come off Sam Atkinson, but we'll take it. Sanusi got the head. Actually, to be fair, no, I'm wrong. Sam Atkinson did get the last touch on it, but it probably would have been on target from Sanusi anyway. It looks like we're going to get our first 3 points of the season, which is marvellous to see. We're going to bring Alex Iwobi off for Deji Satona, and we'll bring Henry Lawrence on for Livramento. Lawrence, not a player that got too much match time last year. I think I said at the end of last season that it might be the case that he becomes a player that potentially is used as a profit player. I don't really know, but I think that he might be a player that leaves the club for a profit. We're signing for 6 million. I think we could probably get double that. But again, he's a depth player. We need to make sure we do have these depth players. I've said that we are a bit light on the ground, but you know, defence is one of those places where we've got the depth. And Satona, bless him, I think he's gonna start the new season in exactly the same way that he ended the last one, by just shooting it straight at the goalkeeper. I don't know what's happening with Deji Satona. I think he's just a player that needs a goal. And Joe Willock's very nearly got one there. Whew! I think we're going to win this one 3-1. I think we're going to get our first 3 points of the season fairly safely. We are, but Casco's got a lot to learn. Got a lot to learn. But we win 3-1. Good result. Good stuff from our forwards. Our defence played well as well. And happy with that win. Good stuff. Yeah, not a lot you can do with goals like that. We got a match against Norwich next. They had a winning start to the season against Villa. Look at Derby. They lost 7-0. Is this going to be a repeat of that year where they got how many points? Goodness knows. Arsenal pick up a point. Interesting. But from their big results, I know it was against the newly promoted sides, but even so, Liverpool and Manchester United look big threats. We haven't made any changes for the match against Norwich. Pickford's back on the bench, but unfortunately he's not fit to start today. He failed his fitness test, and really, if we start him today and, for example, he's out for 6 months because of that, we just can't have that risk. We should be winning this one fairly comfortably. It's the first one at home of the year, so I'm happy about that. And hopefully we can get 3 points out of it. And it'd be a very good start. Definitely a real contrast to last year, where we got nothing out of the first 2 games. If we can get 2 wins out of the first 2 games, it does mean that if we lose 1 or 2 potentially, it's okay. We've got 3 big matches next. Nice to see we're getting some more aerial goals. We got one with Diego Almeida in the previous match. I don't know what this is here. What's this? Is that the... I've never seen that before. Honestly, I've never seen that before. I wonder if that... It can't be. Is that the new stadium? Because we are building a new stadium. It doesn't look like a stadium to me, but I could be completely wrong. I don't know what that is. I've never seen that before. Anyway, it is... I don't know if this is our last year at Goodison Park. I can't remember whether it's this year or next year. I need to check that out because that could have a big difference actually going into next year if we're playing somewhere else. Our home form is very good and I do worry that maybe that might not help us out. I'm going to push forward a bit more in this match because I can see Norwich are playing very defensively, playing with 4 at the back. Very much 2 banks of 4, but 2 defensive midfielders. They've been very negative going forward. That being said, they'll go and score about 3 today. I can just see that. But good save there from Casco. He's a player that really, you know, could well be first choice in many Premier League sides. But because of how well Pickford played last year, we can't not pick Pickford. Not pick him. Not pick Pickford. Fair enough. But Norwich are on the ball. This looks like it's got all the classic traits of a Norwich decent attack and potentially a goal-scoring chance. Dembele to Emi. Just runs with the ball. Good tackle from Viviani. Oh dear, the Norwich defender mistimes his header. Nelson's through and Nelson makes it 2-0. And I'll tell you something I did do before the game that was recommended. I'm going to reverse that. Before the game, the assistant recommended we put our defensive line a bit higher. And that, I think, is why these things are happening. We're hoofing the ball out. I guess playing that standing defensive line worked last year. And if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But we're doing very well here. Reece Nelson gets his first goal of the year. He scored 20 last year. And hopefully he can do something similar. As I've said before, I don't care who scores. Whether it's Nelson, whether it's Lorenzo, whether it's Ben Godfrey. Whoever it is, it really doesn't matter to me. But it is good to know we've got a consistent striker. We've got Lorenzo, who definitely hasn't reached his potential yet. Played very well last year. Interested to see how he gets on this year. And obviously, we've got our big signing, Robin van den Berg. We've got a lot of potential up front. We've got Sam Atkinson. We've got Deji Satona. We've got Ryan Hill out on the right. We've got Russell Lee in the attacking midfield. We've got a lot of good players coming through the system. And it will probably become a juggling act at some stage, who else we pick. Viviani puts it back to Godfrey. We're very much controlling this game. Lovely ball through. Doesn't quite work out. De Jong on the wing. Puts it to Hughes. De Jong. Bit of passing from Norwich's defence. Good pressure by us, but a good pass and move, I guess, from Norwich. You can't argue with that. Good tackle from Sakaria. Goes straight back to the Norwich player, though. And Smith passes it to Campbell. He's through on goal. And a very strong save with Casco. Although he conceded that goal against Sheffield United, which I said, to be honest, many goalkeepers would struggle not to concede. He's done pretty well. He's looked pretty strong. He's not looked nervous at all. Because when players come to the Premier League, particularly in goal, they can look quite nervous. But his composure, at least at the moment, looks pretty good. And that's backed up by him having a 7.2 rating. Good start for us here. 2-0 up at half-time. I'm going to say we're very happy with how it's going. Let's see if we can't keep that up. We're going to push back a little bit to the positive mentality rather than attacking. Our players all look happy. It is all rosy at the moment. I'm waiting for the time where it's not going so rosy, because it always happens in Football Manager, but for the last 6 months, things have been going well. Sam Atkinson still has a shot. It's wide of the mark. But again, we're making chances. We're having shots. We've had 12 so far this match. 5 of them on target. Not really the conversion rate I'm looking for, but as is always said, if you don't buy a ticket, you'll never win the raffle. Sam Atkinson's picked up a niggle, so we're going to bring him off. Let's see who we can bring him off for. We'll put Sanusi at left wing. We'll put Iwobi on the right. And we'll bring Lawrence on at left back. I want to give Kenneth Taylor a chance today at some point, because he's a player that I've never really used. No, I wouldn't say that the assistant and the coaches rave about him, but he's a decent star rating, and you know, he's a player that could be useful for the squad, but just never someone that's really fit in. So I'd like to see what he's made of. Lorenzo overshot a bit poor there. We are getting a bit sloppy here, but we are 2-0 up. It's okay. Again, if we draw this one 2-2, I'll be annoyed at the chance we've made and not converted. But at least, as I said, we're making the chances. And it still is early on this year, so we've got progress to make, and hopefully we can make it. Viviani hoofs the ball into the box. The Norwich keeper actually just chucks it out. Sakaria with a shot, and Sakaria really makes the goalkeeper pay for that by getting his first goal of the season. We're also getting varying goal scorers, not just Reiss Nelson, it's not just Satona, it's not just Lorenzo. We've had Sakaria score today, Almeida scored in the last match, Sanusi scored from left back as well. We've had, obviously, Reiss Nelson score today. If we can get a variety of goal scorers, we're really on the right path. And bear in mind, we haven't even put our new sign in the squad yet, so I think things are looking rosy, but as I said, things can change very quickly. We're going to bring Kenneth Taylor on, see how he gets on. I mean, I know 15 minutes isn't exactly a big debut for him, but nevertheless, it's not going to hurt. We'll put Sanusi back to left back because we can put Lawrence at right back and Livramento looks quite tired. And we will bring Deji Satona on for 15 minutes as well. We'll sit back and go defensive because I'd love to get a clean sheet. Also for Casco's confidence, that would be nice to see as well. But for us to go and beat Norwich 3-0, you know, a good side. Maybe in real life they're not as good as they are in game, but they are a good side. They can threaten. They beat us in the cup last year, but it looks like, and as well with a clean sheet here, we are going to start much better than we did last year, and we start with 2 wins out of 2. 3-0 against Norwich, brilliant start. I don't think we've got much to panic about. We really haven't. We've got 3 big games next, and that'll be the big test, I think, to see how good we really are. Derby County gets their first win, so maybe it might not be that horrible worry that they're going to be terrible. Sam Atkinson's out for a few days, no problem there. There we go. Southampton boss Dean Smith keeping an eye on Alex Iwobi. We put an offer in, because with some of these players, if you offer them out, they get incredibly upset. But yeah, if somebody just comes to the club and offers, they'll happily go. Strange. We've got Norwich, well, not Norwich, we've got Brighton up next. I think we'll win that one. I think we'll get 3 points again out of that one based on how we played in these two. Then we've got Chelsea, Man City and Liverpool. We'll probably come back for either of these games, depending on where the Champions League game fits in. I believe it'll be right in the middle of that. But obviously we have got the Champions League draw, we've got the Cup draw as well. And nicely, we haven't got to play in the second round of the Cup this year because we are a top 4 side. Sounds incredibly good to say that. And I know it's early days, but based on the evidence, we've got a good chance of doing the same again, at least being in European contention anyway. Definitely got a lot of goal scorers as proof there. 6 players all getting a singular goal. And hopefully next time out you'll see the first of what Robin van den Berg can do. I'm excited for that. If you've enjoyed the first episode of the new season, make sure to leave a like down below. Comment your thoughts as well and subscribe for regular Foot Manager content. But apart from that, I've been TIJ Gaming. Thank you very much for your company today. Have a good rest of your day and I will see you guys in the next one. Goodbye for now.